Well, what is going on, YouTube? Welcome back to A Therapeutic Edge. Today, on the table in front of us, we have something I've been waiting for a little while now. This, of course, is the full-size Adamas, the new one. There has been a full-size Adamas previously, but they've made some updates that are worth your attention and certainly worth mine. Now, this is, well, okay, so here's the mini. And Zach, both Women Carry Knives and I have now reviewed this, so it'll be on its way home to you soon, I promise. My precious. I mean, no, it's coming back. This is a great knife. Let's move this up just a little bit. This is a fantastic knife. It is. For most people, this is going to be an ideal EDC, but for me, it is verging on too small. I can't get a full hand on it. It is comfortable as heck. It is one of my new favorite small knives, but I don't buy small knives, not generally. Nope, when I bring something into the collection, it's my size, and the full size is just that. This is a beast, and it is a comfortable beast, and it is a well-made one at that. I really am happy about this thing. So I carry big knives. I have a couple here on the table just for giggles. Stuff like the SOG Seal XR, or, you know, the XM24 here, the sheep's foot. I love this thing. But I don't just like big knives. This is what I carry. Stuff like this. I do carry small knives if I'm wearing shorts or light pants or whatever. But for the most part, I wear jeans and I carry a knife that's about this size. I really do. So this knife here, the new Adamas, is right up my alley. And I was hoping it would be. You know, I could have bought this. But money being what it is, I had to make a choice, and so I waited. And I'm glad that I did. Let's take a look at what you get. Well, if you saw my review on the small one, you know what you get, because this is just that writ large. You get a really nice blade, beautiful blade shape. Look at that. Absolutely gorgeous. In CPM crew wear. You get G10 scales over steel liners. These, of course, like the Mini, have been drilled out for weight reduction. It has jimping right where you'd want it. Here, 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 and here. So when you lock this thing in, it feels really, really sure-footed in hand. It is very good to hold and use. And in the last week, I have used this thing to cut, well, all the things I usually cut to test a knife. Cardboard, packing straps, zip ties, old coax cable, some old seat belt, paper, just because it's fun. And this has done all of that, and not a mark on the blade. I mean, there was some lines up here this morning, but I cleaned it with a little bit of rubbing alcohol and gone. So, whatever they're doing, the coating here is really well done. The rest of the knife is equally done so. Just like on the Mini, all of the hardware is black. The thumb studs, pivot, the axis lock. As I said, the liners, which are also black. The barrel space, I love this open construction with these big barrel spacers back here. They're also black. All the screws are black. The pocket clip, also black, which is deep carry, but sort of low on the knife. I mean, it's not crazy low. It's not, you know, it's not low like this thing, where you got an inch of knife sticking out of your pocket. But they gave up a little, I think, in the interest of this lanyard hole right here. And I sort of wish they hadn't, because I don't lanyard. But that's just me. It is balanced. It really is. And again, I cannot get over how comfortable this thing is. Now, interestingly, on the Mini, which I moved over here for some stupid reason, the pocket clip, because of where the swell is and because of where it lands in my palm, see that? Actually, it's a bit of a hot spot for me when I was doing push cuts with it, because it's, you know, moving like this in hand. Because the full size is, you know, bigger. This swell is moved down to the very bottom of my hand, and it is no longer an issue. This is a hot spot free knife. Now, I mentioned all this jimping. I want to say that it is grippy without being ridiculously sharp. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, it's, again, this is going to be the knife of the moment, I guess. I love the SOG Seal XR. This thing is jimp freaking tastic. There is jimping on the blade. let's do this real quick. The one place I do wish there was more jimping is I wish it came farther forward, because this is where my thumb lands. It'd be nice if there was jimping here. Just like on this knife. It's in perfect location. This is a fantastic pocket knife, you guys. But the jimping is rough to the point of being sharp, and it is the entire back of the knife and the entire front. They have jimped out this, oh my God, to the point where anyway, this thing is rough in the hand. And look, I don't have hard-working guy hands anymore. Those days in my life are sort of over. I'm an office guy. But I don't want to have to wear gloves to effectively use a knife. And I'm telling you, if I had to cut up, let's say, 20 cardboard boxes, by the time I was done, the jimping on this thing would be giving me a bit of a headache. Nick Shabazz would say that this is an ideal knife for work in a Vaseline factory, because it's never going to get out of your hand. And it's true. This is fantastic. This has jimping in all of the places that make it feel locked in without it being sandpaper. Like, it's not going to cut you. It is going to grip you. And that's really nice. I really, really like this knife. The action from the factory was spectacular. It is dead on centered. The axis lock is smooth. Some people have issues with Benchmade. Look, they're a big company. They make a lot of knives. The odds that some are going to fall through the QC cracks are pretty good. I have now 14 Benchmade knives, and I've had probably 25. I've never had one with a QC issue. I've had Spydercos with off-center grinds and all sorts of crazy stuff going on. All of my Benchmades have come, well, just really good. And this is no exception. You know, these are $280 on the Benchmade website. They won't be that much when they hit retailers, of course, but you know, it's up to you if you want to wait. The Crewwear blade. Let's talk about this blade. So it's got the fuller, right? Which is unfortunately not set up in a way that you can flick it. That would be great, right? But so it's got a fuller that runs about 3/4 of the blade. It's got a great swedge. Look at that right here at the tip. It's not a particularly tall grind because of this long flat right here, but it does come down to a really nice edge. And mine, well, again, some people complain about things about Benchmade. They complain about the edge quality. I don't know what to tell you. This has cut everything I've asked it to, including paper, smoothly, easily, and without hesitation. So maybe it's not a high polish, you know, super fine grit edge, but I don't look for that in my knives. In any of them. I want a knife that cuts when I want it to and holds the edge long while I'm doing the job. This has done just that. So let's get some size comparisons out of the way. Now, you've already seen it against some of my other bigger knives. But let's do the standard big knife comparison. Here it is against the Benchmade Presidio 2 in CF Elite scales. These knives are very, very comparable. You know, if you don't want to spend the 200 and let's say 60 or 70 bucks, 70 bucks or whatever these are going to be when they come out, but you want a nice big Benchmade, don't ignore this. You'll be sad. Here it is against the Mini Presidio 2, which, by the way, is very similarly sized to the Mini Adamas, right? So the Presidio is an interesting, slightly more budget-friendly option if you're not into these. You can get the Presidio Mini or the Presidio full size for a lot less money, or for less money, and they're equally good users and work knives. If none of these are familiar to you, here it is against the Rat Model 1. Now, this Rat, of course, is modified by BJ Hill, but he hasn't changed the dimensions over at Hilltop Knives and Gear. And as you can see, the Adamas is just a bigger knife. And that's interesting because this is what most people consider to be a big knife, but this is bigger. And finally, let's put it up against the Rat 2. Rat 2, of course, is dirty because it's an around-the-house work knife. Yeah, look, the Adamas is a big boy. It's a great knife. It pockets very well for a big knife. I'm going to say that this is about 6 or 6.5 ounces. We're going to weigh it in a minute, but it doesn't ride the pocket like a 6.5 ounce. I can speak. Watch me go. Hey now. I don't know. They've done a really good job with it. How is it different from the original, I can hear you ask? Well, it's narrower through the handle. It's a little lighter. It's slightly thinner blade stock, but the original had D2, and this CPM Crewwear blade is just out of sight. So it is definitely an improvement. Let's knock the specs out. Knock the specs out. I don't know what I'm doing. It's been a long day. You get 1, 2, 3, and just under 3 3/4 of cutting on 3 3/4 of CPM crew wear. The grip area, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's get that right. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1/4, which is, you know, I mean, there's 3/4 of an inch of knife sticking out for me, but if I move back like I always do, my hand fills this thing up perfectly. The knife itself, from end to end, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 3/4 inches long, which is a really nice size. The action, again, this is a hard-working fidget toy, to be sure. That is really, the axis lock from Benchmade is so good for that. I mean, it's smooth, right? Both directions. It opens the way you want it to, when you want it to. Ah, man, that's really good. Let's weigh it. I think it's 6 or 6.5. Let's call it 6.5. Ooh, rocking the table. Magic scale. Yeah, 6.5. That's pretty good. That would be 184 grams for those of you who are into grams. By way of comparison, the big SOG here is 8.3 ounces, and I carry this without issue. But the full-size Presidio 2 is 5 ounces. So this is a lighter knife. Similar in size, but a little bit lighter. Let's use the old magic calipers. I don't know, everything's magic today. It's just that kind of a day. Let's see where we're at. All right, at its thickest spot right here, we are 3.62 millimeters, which is a nice chunk of CPM crew wear. I'm just going to call it crew wear from now on. Or maybe I'll just keep saying CPM, one never knows. The handle itself is a thick boy. We're talking about 16.58 millimeters or 0.65 inches. So over half an inch. It is definitely a handful. Look, if you don't have enormous hands, I mean, some people have smaller hands and they like big knives. That's awesome. But again, your choices are really good here. I mean, if this is too big, get one of these. I love this knife. Now, I don't love it in the same way that I love this thing, which is a weird amalgam of fancy and hard use and whatever. I don't even know. But I love it just the same. And I love it because it is a straight up just knife done exceptionally well, good at what it's for, attractive in that job, and it's showing what Benchmade can do when they want to. And I really like that. I mean, I'm not Zach over at Zach Stuff. I'm not a Benchmade fanboy at that level. Sorry, Zach. I love you, buddy. But I am definitely a fan of Benchmades, and this is why. The Siebert knife, it is, of course, designed by Siebert. It has a little bit of billboarding on it, which is a little surprising. It's got a bright, shiny butterfly right there. And on this side, it says Siebert, and on this side, it says CPM Crewwear, which is more billboarding than you normally get, if only because it's so shiny, right? But that's neither here nor there. This has the same sort of pyramid-shaped thumb studs that the Mini does, and I really like those. So these are the standard Benchmade sort of thumb studs. Let's put those in a place where you can see them. There you go. These are the standards over here, just barrels. This shape is really nice. They manage to work every time without biting into under your thumbnail if you happen to hook them up that way. It's a nice feature. It really is. So that's the full-size Adamas in Crewwear. I think it's a really excellent move on Benchmade's part. I think if you like durable, functional, sort of kick-ass knives that are not super fancy, this is a great way to go. So thanks for watching. I really appreciate having you guys here with me. If you have any questions about the Adamas, mini Adamas, or any of the knives you've seen on today's video, feel free to ask down in the comments below. If you would like to subscribe, that would be great. I would love to have you here on a regular basis. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.